What happens when a $200 billion company gets audited by 4 foul-mouthed children? For nearly 30 years, South Park has been the most unhinged corporate watchdog on television. Every now and then, a massive company turns on Comedy Central and realizes its entire business model has just been reduced to a fart joke with disturbing accuracy. But what did these companies do to deserve this? And most importantly, how did Matt and Trey know the frontman of a large company was a criminal even before his arrest? And why did another company lose $1 million court case after their episode was aired? And no, this is not fake news. We leave all the fake news for Facebook. Facebook got hit twice by South Park in a decade, which tells you something. I don't know what that thing is, though. The first shot comes in season 14's You Have Zero Friends. Trey Parker came up with the concept after actually signing up for Facebook and getting sucked into it. Classic villain origin story. Man joins platform consumes man makes a cartoon. In the end, Stan gets trapped in Facebook, literally like Tron, only sadder. He's forced to play Farmville-style games, add friends, and slowly lose his actual life. But the joke isn't about Facebook the company. I mean, this should be obvious. It's about us. It's about the way social media hijacks our needs for approval and turns our self-worth into numbers. Facebook is just a tool. But yeah, who cares? Many just watch South Park to have someone to clown. Facebook never responded publicly. Zuck didn't either. If you'd been compared to a robot since roughly 2008, you'd probably say nothing too. But maybe he should have, because 7 years later, South Park gave us round 2. In franchise prequel, the South Park version of Mark Zuckerberg shows up in town and refuses to leave. He turns up uninvited in people's homes and cars, eating their food, invading their lives. This time, the plot is about fake news spreading on Facebook. Professor Chaos, which is just Butters, builds an entire company dedicated to spreading lies about Coon and friends. Cartman's superhero group then pays Zuckerberg directly to protect the operation. And when the boys confront Zuckerberg and ask why he's protecting someone who's deliberately lying about them, he just goes,
"Simple. He paid me $17.23.
TechCrunch called the episode jaw-dropping and how aggressively it attacks Zuckerberg. Did Facebook deserve it? Both times, absolutely yes. The company's entire business model makes money from content, whether it's true or not. Zuckerberg must have been praying his competitors got some heat too, and his prayers were answered when South Park turned his marketing rival Jeff Bezos into an alien from Star Trek and predicted a real warehouse accident 24 hours before it happened. In fact, I think South Park surprised themselves with this one. In Unfulfilled, Steven Stotch begins work at the new Amazon Fulfillment Center in South Park. He clocks in, he fills orders, he eats lunch at a table alone, he clocks out. He carpools home in the dark, he comes back, he does it again. We know something's up when the show plays the entirety of Tennessee Ernie Ford's 16 tons over a montage of workers sorting packages alone in a warehouse. If you don't know 16 Tons, look it up. It's a song about a man trapped in debt to a coal company who spends his whole life paying back to the system that employs him. South Park wasn't subtle at all. Well, something was up all right. A worker gets picked up by a sorting robot and compressed into a small Amazon box. You can't make this up. The very next day after the episode aired, 24 Amazon warehouse workers were hospitalized after a malfunctioning robot blasted them with bear spray. Will you look at that? South Park predicted a warehouse robot incident, and it happened within 24 hours. The show's creators didn't plan this, or did they? Just kidding, of course they didn't. Did they? Well, back to the episode. A strike begins by the workers right after, so Jeff Bezos drops by. Jeff Bezos in South Park is a Telosian. Telosians use illusions and psychological manipulation to keep humans captive for their own entertainment. Whoever drew this is kinda sick. They gave Bezos a pulsating brain and a humanoid body with the back of his head shaped exactly like a butt. Jeff told the mayor with a calm voice that will give you chills.
Would you like to know why Amazon is so successful? Because the customer is all that matters.
Well, when the robot attack happened in real life, Amazon tried to paint a different picture. They released a statement saying, "The safety of our employees is our top priority." What a smart way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But while Jeff Bezos got a for a head, Cartman drew something really dirty on the Redskins logo. It was, you know what? Let's just get into it. In September 2014, the NFL was in the news a lot, but not for football. Instead of hitting balls, Ray Rice hit his fiancée, and the video became one of the most viral and widely viewed elevator videos ever. Sorry, Jay-Z. The Washington Redskins also had their trademark voided by the US Patent and Trademark Office. Why? Well, why not? Redskins! Lunch was served, Matt and Trey smacked their lips and sat down to eat. The episode opens with the boys trying to start a Kickstarter company so they never have to go to school again. When asked what the company will actually do, Cartman says, "No, we don't want to do anything."
No, we don't want to do anything. Yeah, that's why we want to have a startup company.
That was a Kickstarter shade, of course, but there's a lot more where that came from. The boys have a problem. Every good company name is taken. By good name, we mean Boner Forest, Lubricated Titty Burgers, names as offensive as the Washington Redskins. When they learn that the Washington Redskins trademark had been canceled and is now available, Cartman immediately registers it. The Washington Redskins are now officially a Kickstarter company whose business model is doing nothing. Backers start pouring money in purely because they recognize the name. The boys get rich sitting on their backsides, which is peak Silicon Valley logic. Oh, I loved that, and it even got better. Dan Schneider, the actual Washington Redskins owner, tells Cartman to stop because calling his company the Washington Redskins is offensive to the real team. This punchline is beautiful. Cartman tells him,
We can't just change the name of our company because it's super hard. But hey, from one redskin to another, go f yourself.
Snyder refuses to go F himself. He goes to the NFL instead and appeals to Commissioner Goodell for help. This was one of the best parts. After Ray Rice used his fiancée for target practice in the elevator, Roger Goodell in real life coldly told the press that the NFL will do better. Like a robot. Well, in the episode, South Park made him a robot, the Goodellbot. He overheats and even glitches out while he delivers the audio of that press conference verbatim. Since the commissioner's useless, the NFL owners decide to help. They agree to pressure Cartman to at least change the logo. Cartman changes it all right. When he unveils the new logo, it's the original Washington Redskins helmet, but he drew in boobs and men's genitalia on it. Cartman even compares the NFL directly to the Catholic Church because they both cover up wrongdoing to protect its business model. It still doesn't end there. Still in the episode, the actual Washington Redskins football team are so angry, they raid Kickstarter's headquarters and destroy the servers. The best part of the raid happens when Ray Rice approaches a female Kickstarter employee who's trying to escape in an elevator. The doors close and the screen cuts to black. I hope she made it out alive like the real one did. Anyway, after preparing this bazooka of an episode, Comedy Central bought advertising time on the Fox affiliate in Washington, D.C. to promote the episode during the Redskins game. They wanted the audience most likely to be offended to see it. Magnificent! Did they deserve it? The Washington Redskins was a racist team name. The NFL had just mishandled a domestic violence case. So, yes. The punchline about doing nothing and calling it a business also lands harder now that we've seen all what a Kickstarter does to people's money. 6 years after this episode aired, the Washington Redskins finally dropped the name. They became the Washington Football Team, then the Washington Commanders in 2022. The episode aged like fine wine. In comparison to this massacre, I guess EA Sports got off slightly easier. That is, if you don't think a big oil baron in a plantation suit screaming at children is not too bad. This episode is unhinged. It starts with Cartman creating a sports league for crack babies. The sport is simple, come watch babies fight over crack. Kyle is horrified, and I'm so impressed that he is, until he does the money math and joins as CFO. Damn. But who the hell is this episode about? The NCAA, of course. They work with babies, younger athletes. They generate billions of dollars from them and only pay them with mercy scholarships, which is just a tiny pinch of what their wages should be. In fact, from 1906 to 2025, the NCAA didn't pay its athletes a penny. The players were crack babies for 99 years. Isn't that slavery? Cartman knew it was. That's why he visited the University of Colorado Athletics Department dressed as a 19th century plantation owner to ask how they got away with running a slave operation. He's thrown out. Cartman then sells his horrible business to a video game company, clearly based on Electronic Arts. Oh, this tracks, because in real life, former NCAA players sued EA Sports for using their likenesses in video games without compensation. The EA Sports president, Peter Moore, was drawn as a scotch-swilling, cigar-smoking villain. Of course he agrees to buy the company. The episode's even funnier when you know it wasn't the first time South Park had gone after EA. The year before, they'd spoofed EA's Tiger Woods game so bad that a rumor began that EA Sports was considering suing Matt and Trey over it. I almost believed too, because even I wouldn't let that slide without throwing hands, but it was false. For Matt and Trey to hit again, even harder, maybe something did happen behind the scenes. So yeah, this one was probably personal. EA never responded, but the courts did. 10 years later, the Supreme Court ruled in NCAA v. Elston that college athletes could receive compensation for their name, image, and likeness. Thank goodness. And from 2025, the athletes can now earn actual wages, thanks to the crack babies that spoke up, and thanks to South Park 2. Yet another episode that aged beautifully. Now time for food critics who think they're the Avengers. Sorry, Yelp. After watching You're Not Yelping, okay, that name makes me chuckle every time. After watching this episode, multiple restaurant owners probably got orgasms. Cartman is a Yelp reviewer who extorts free meals from a Mexican family restaurant. He even threatens to give them a 1-star review if they refuse to give him free meals. In fact, every Yelper is evil. They demand free food and act like Gordon Ramsay without the talent. This time, Kyle saves the day. He invites every Yelp reviewer individually to the mayor's office and gives them a badge. The restaurants then contaminate every order the badge holders make with urine, mucus, semen, or poop. But the Yelpers don't notice. Cartman even eats the food every day and calls it excellent. Ew. This episode attacked selfish and entitled reviewers and influencers who feel entitled to free meals, special treatment, and even power over businesses. Well, how did Yelp respond? Bloody capitalists ran ads on the episode. They paid to advertise during their own roasting. Either they didn't know in advance, or they decided it was the reviewer's cross to carry, not theirs. Good move, because even Mickey Mouse wasn't spared. I need you to fully appreciate what Matt and Trey did here. They used the actual Mickey Mouse, not a parody, then made him a cocaine-snorting and physically violent corporate pimp. In the ring, Kenny's new girlfriend Tammy goes to a Jonas Brothers concert. But when she returns, she wants to abstain from sex until marriage because the boy band had endorsed a purity ring. Matt and Trey didn't make this up, it happened in real life. In South Park's world though, a dangerous pimp is behind this. His name is Mickey Mouse. He's such a genius! He wants parents to think they want their daughters to abstain, so they let them attend the shows. But behind the scenes, he sells sexual excitement to their daughters. When Joe Jonas tries to quit, Mickey beats him up till he's bloody. Who knew Mickey packed a punch with his pretty gloved fists? Real-life Joe Jonas thought it was hilarious, but Nick Jonas confessed in a Reddit AMA that he didn't find it funny at all when it first came out. I mean, if my cartoon version stood watching while my friend was being jumped, I wouldn't find it funny either. But enough about the group. What did Disney think? I mean, they are the evil pimps here. Well, the Disney Channel president actually loved it too. She said the company was absolutely thrilled because it meant that the rest of the entertainment actually noticed us. Now, what exactly was thrilling about being portrayed as a conniving, sexually abusive company? I have a lot to say about that, but let's move on to Logan Paul, who, surprise, surprise, got called a douche. His reaction was, well, let's get to it. In 2023, in real life, 2 very large YouTubers sold a drink to the most gullible people on the planet. Children. Senator Chuck Schumer was not amused. He publicly accused them of using kids to market energy drinks meant for adults. He basically called them douchebags. Matt and Trey probably thought he was too subtle. In the Not Suitable for Children special, they call him Logan LaDouche. Hilarious. Logan LaDouche promotes Cred, a parody of Prime, with such high energy. He even jumps off planes, pours the drink over himself in gyms, and sells to children while saying,
Not intended for children.
The dig here is so obvious. What was Logan Paul's reaction? Well, he filmed a recreation of the Cred advertisement in real life, substituted Prime for Cred, poured the drink over himself exactly as the cartoon had, posted it on Twitter with the caption, "Thanks for the Cred," at South Park. Turns out you cannot shame the shameless. Logan Paul later called being parodied on South Park the accomplishment of my life. The response was so good, it got 2.9 million views. This is either a sign of Logan Paul's smarts, or maybe this is just another negative side of influencing, where everything is a money grab. Did Prime deserve it? Yes, but the beautiful irony is that the target danced in the fire and sold more drinks. Now imagine the CEO of your company dying 5 months after being attacked by South Park. Awkward! This is probably the most unhinged one yet. It's so unhinged, it's divided into 2 stories. In the first story, Kyle gets an iTunes update. He scrolls to the bottom and clicks agree without reading a word. Don't we all? Well, Apple employees immediately appear outside his window and explain that he's just consented to join Apple's latest product development program. They place him in a holding cell with a Japanese man named Junichi Takayama and a Caucasian woman. Both also clicked agree without reading. With this scene, Matt and Trey have already made their point. They could stop the episode here and it would still be perfect. But what's the fun in that? The 3 of them are surgically sewn together, mouth to, well, butt. They're sewn with an iPhone attached to Junichi's forehead and an iPad attached to the woman's posterior. The phone is powered by their shared digestive system. It's the grossest thing I've ever watched. Matt and Trey are sick. Steve Jobs in the episode thinks it's sick too, but the good kind of sick. So he unveils the human centipede at a product launch. But there's a problem. The human centipede, Kyle, is supposed to be able to read and process information, but every time he's presented terms and conditions, he clicks agree without reading them. The job screams no every single time this happens. While he tries to automate Kyle, Gerald and the boys go to an Apple store to try to free him. Gerald explains to a genius named Leslie that his son has been kidnapped by Apple and is being held against his will. After a very weird scene with weird rituals, the geniuses explain that they can void Kyle's agreement if Gerald, a PC user, joins Apple and creates a family account. Gerald agrees to all of it. The geniuses perform another ritual, and Gerald gets his son back. If that's the first story, what the hell's happening in the second? I'll tell you what. Cartman's mom takes him to Best Buy to buy an iPad, but it's too expensive. She suggests a Toshiba Handybook instead. Cartman throws a tantrum. He even tells a policeman that his mother's trying to F him. He then goes to Dr. Phil to publicly accuse Leanne of sexual abuse because she wouldn't buy him a $499 Apple product. Apple, Best Buy, and Dr. Phil team up in what the show describes as a clear PR stunt. Very funny. They decide to donate the first human centipede to a little boy whose mother constantly tries to fuck him. The newsreader actually said this.
The tragic story of a little boy whose mother constantly tries to fuck him.
Cartman receives the device with so much joy, but he has it for 90 seconds because Gerald and the geniuses arrive and void Kyle's agreement. What was all that hullabaloo about? Simple. User agreements. Nobody reads them, everyone clicks agree. But there was more drama ahead. Steve Jobs died 5 months after the episode aired of pancreatic cancer, but real ones know his heart couldn't handle the annoyance of millions of people clicking agree without reading. Now we get to the episode that Comedy Central tried to stop Matt and Trey from making. Yep, Comedy Central told Trey Parker that this episode couldn't air because they weren't allowed to attack the Subway brand. The nerve. Well, Matt and Trey said understood, but then did it anyway. The entire episode is so funny because it's such a huge pun. Jared Fogle, the global face of Subway, famously lost 245 pounds eating their sandwiches. He visited South Park to give a speech, but later, he tells the boys that his weight loss wasn't just the sandwiches, he had help. He calls the help his aides, but the town hears AIDS. It all goes downhill from there. He announces he got AIDS about 2 years ago. He even says everyone needs to get AIDS. He then butters the bun by saying he'll start an AIDS for Everyone Foundation to give AIDS to hungry children all over the world. That was hilarious, but did you think Jared Fogle found that funny? Oh, of course not. He told the Washington Post that was typical tasteless humor. I imagine him snorting with his nose in the air, which makes the next event so unbelievable. Turns out the FBI had also had their nose in the air. They arrested Jared Fogle on federal charges of child diddling and possessing corn involving children. I mean, he was only accused, right? He didn't actually do it, did he? Well, he pled guilty and was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in federal prison. Looks like Jared really wanted to give his AIDS to hungry children all over the world, and that was not some tasteless joke. Subway's reputation score dropped 6 points in 1 year, from 77 to 71, according to the Reputation Institute, and their US sales fell 3.3% in 2014 and 3.4% in 2015. Drop your picks in the comments. Which company deserved the roast the most? Which one got off too lightly? And which executive pretended to be cool with it when they weren't? Subscribe if you want more, and remember, if South Park ever comes for your company, there's only one correct response. Sell some merch!